You've built your identity around being the person who has it all together. The one person people come to for answers, the one who figures it out, solves the problem, makes it happen. But what happens when you're the person who needs help?
If you've ever stared at your phone wanting to reach out to someone, but you just feel like you can't, if you've ever felt like asking for support somehow takes away from who you are, this conversation is for you.
Let's start with why this is so hard for high achievers. You've spent years, maybe even decades, being the capable one, the reliable one, the one who doesn't need any hand-holding or extra support. The competence has served you well. It's gotten you promotions, opportunities, and respect. It's built your business and your reputation.
But competence can be a cage, because when your value feels tied to your ability to handle everything by yourself, asking for help starts to feel like you're admitting a weakness, like you're somehow failing at being who you are. And here's the paradox. The more successful you become, the harder it gets to be vulnerable.
So you suffer in silence. You figure it out alone. You carry the weight by yourself, even if it's crushing you. But here's what I want you to understand today. The very competence that got you here is the reason why you need support just as much as anybody else.
This shows up differently depending on your type A pattern, but it shows up for all of us. If you're an overplanner, you probably think you should be able to research, strategize, and systemize your way out of any challenge. Asking for help feels like admitting that your plan wasn't enough. But sometimes the plan isn't the problem, the isolation is.
If you're an avoider, you might desperately want support, but feel too overwhelmed to even know what to ask for. The thought of explaining your situation, your needs, your confusion, it just feels like more work, and you're just struggling through it alone.
And if you're a hustler, you have convinced yourself that asking for help will actually slow you down. You can move faster solo, right? By yourself. But speed without direction is just spinning your wheels. And here's the tough love moment. Your reluctance to ask for help isn't protecting your competence.
It's limiting your growth. Because the challenges that got you stuck, they're bigger than what got you here. And you can't solve them with the same thinking that got you in this place in the first place.
So let's talk about what this costs you. Not to make you feel guilty, but to help you see what you're actually protecting by staying isolated.
First, it costs you perspective. When you're inside the problem, you cannot see the solution. You need someone outside your head to point out your blind spots.
Second, it costs you time. How many hours have you spent spinning on something that someone else could have helped you solve in a conversation? How many mistakes could have been avoided with the right input? We talk about this. Sometimes you need the right tool for the job. Makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. And third, it costs you connection. The relationships that matter the most are built on mutual support. When you never let people help you, you're robbing them of a chance to contribute to your success, and you rob yourself of deeper relationships.
But here's the biggest cost. It keeps you smaller than you're meant to be. Because the challenges you're facing alone, they're designed to be tackled with support. The goals you're not reaching, they require collaboration, insight, and accountability that you can't provide for yourself. Your competence isn't threatened by asking for help. It's limited by refusing to ask for help.
So let's start by reframing what it means to actually ask for help. It's not admitting weakness. It's leveraging resources. And don't we all love leveraging our resources? It's strategic thinking. It's exactly what the most successful people do.
Think about the most accomplished people you know. Do they figure everything out alone, or do they surround themselves with advisors, mentors, peers who push their thinking? Vulnerability isn't the opposite of strength. It's the pathway to greater strength.
When you ask for help, you're not saying, I can't do this. You're saying, I'm serious enough about this outcome that I'm willing to access every single resource that I have available. And here's what happens when you start asking for support. You realize that people actually want to help. They're honored to be asked. They respect you more for being real about your challenges, not less.
The vulnerability you're afraid will diminish who you are actually makes you more human, more relatable, and more trustworthy. But it requires a shift in how you see yourself, from the person who has all the answers to the person who asks better questions.
So, how do we get rid of this "I'll do it myself" mentality and start actually doing this in a real and practical way? First, you have to start small. No one changes like this overnight. Identify one area where you're stuck or struggling, just one. And instead of powering through it alone, reach out to one person who might have some insight for you.
Not for them to solve it for you, but to think through it with you. They offer perspective. They can share what they've learned from similar challenges. You don't have to reveal everything or ask for massive support. Just practice the simple act of saying, "I'm working through something and I would value your thoughts."
And if you want structured support, the kind that's designed for high achievers who aren't used to asking for help, that's exactly why we created Type A Circle. It's not therapy, it's strategic support. It's a space where competent, driven women can bring their real challenges and get real input. Where asking for help is the norm, not the exception.
Because here's what we've learned. The most successful people aren't the ones who never need help. They're the ones who know how to ask for it. Your competence got you this far. Your willingness to be vulnerable will take you the rest of the way.